Karri and Norton, I'm his youngest daughter, youngest child.
Yes.
Yeah. Bitter, plenty of one. Thank you, everyone, for coming to support my father. He was a really precious person. I didn't even get a whole sentence in.
You do
Okay.
okay,
So, you all know Dad. He spoke his mind. He had no filters. He did not know how to not swear in front of children. So you might want to put your hands over your children's ears right now. I might throw a swear out or two. But what I will say is that in the last few years of having grandkids, he learned one fake swear. Sugar. Sugar in place of shit. And it was endlessly entertaining to me to hear him say, sugar, when something bad happened. I've thought about this almost every minute since I got to Spokane on September 13th. Thoughts swirl through my head. I'm going to make them cry. I'm going to make myself cry. Not that that's difficult, obviously. I wanted a full room expressing my own grief. I was going to tell you what a tough childhood Dad had. I was going to tell you about his absent father who denied his birth to his face and how that affected him. Side note, Sugar, that guy. Sure. I was going to tell you about a sympathetic stepfather who died shortly after marrying Grandma, and then the subsequent stepfather who liked beer and violence more than his own family. I was ready to show you my dad as a thief and a villain in his teens and 20s, so you could see the beautiful butterfly that he became after getting over a lot of sugar. And don't get me wrong, he did a lot of his own stupid sugar. Because he was curious, smart, angry, and he was able to get away with it. I wanted to show you how he changed his life for the better. But you're here. Like, you know that story. You know part of it. Maybe bits or pieces. You know who Les Norton is. And the most painful part of that sentence is because he's not is. But we'll move on because, by the way, Dad didn't dwell in depression or anger. He didn't want to sit around and be sad. He wanted to be with his friends and tell stories and be the life of the party. So let's tell some good stories. Let's tell some good stories about Dad. He was always ready to celebrate good times. I don't know if you know this. Side note, you know this. We're a card-playing family. And there's a few card games that we play, but there's one game. It is our lifetime game. It's called Oh Hell. And I typed out the rules to that game, and they're over there. If you just get a copy, please take one with you. When you play this game, as every one of my friends has been forced to play with me, call out, shout out.
Me too.
Wow, I so lost my train. Please give this game more than one chance. I've been playing it since I was at least 8, and it took about 20 years before I learned the fun is in the playing, not in the winning or the losing.
But I won last
But Jim won last night. Dad went out of his way in this game to bid 0, a very tough bid that he pulled off a long time. That joke is only funny to 5 people. So I'm sorry. All I can say is play the game and try to bid 0. And then just ask Kevin how well that worked out. Dad and I had a private joke. When we were playing cards, any card game, but especially Oh Hell, if we look at our hand and it was crap, we'd be like, do you want to trade? And we both put our hands out. And Mom was so irritated with us because that was cheating, which it's cheating. So we never did it. We never did it. But I know in my heart of hearts we would have done it in a second, and we wouldn't have cared.
Except that I objected.
Except that Mom objected, but I'm a little sad right now that I never did it.
I'm glad you didn't.
Dinner party too.
That's right.
Dad had another funny quirk when playing cards. If he was playing last and he knew it was a trick that he was going to win, he would lick the card and he would stick it to his forehead so that you all knew that he faced you. And it was awesome, and I still do it. It is so funny. It's actually another thing Mom hates because you lick the card. It's a little gross. Alright, so Mom and Dad loved to travel, so there was always some car trip. Sometimes planned, a vacation in Oregon, sometimes spur of the moment jump in the car to Chihuahua or up to Banff. A quick trip to Post Falls to buy Powerball when it was particularly high. Whatever it was an adventure. There were so many trips to fish ladders in the Ford station wagon, whichever version of Ford station wagon it was, where we sat in the way back. I think Jim, Heather, Mom, and I can attest to you that we have been to every dam and fish ladder in Washington, Oregon, Idaho, and western Montana.
Yes.
Twice.
True enough.
In here, I actually say I encourage you to stop at a fish ladder, but I don't. They are boring. They're boring. And then I'm not going to swear. So Mom and Dad were a young couple with kids. Pouring the sugar doesn't play. Mom and Dad were a young couple with kids, and they involved us in every trip, and not begrudgingly. We were willing participants. While traveling, they would call out every rest stop, so that if any one of us had to pee or run around or whatever, we could, and they stopped every single time. Every single time. Very amusingly, we always traveled with a pan so that when I got car sick and threw up, it didn't get everywhere. They actually had a specific pan. And continued to carry it with them even when I grew out of getting car sick. In fact, I think they probably still have it. I hope you haven't cooked anything in that. Disgusting.
No, it's saved for me.
A big question of any visit to Seattle for my parents now is where are we going to eat? Because they willingly let me and Kevin take them to Thai, Indian, Mexican, Vietnamese, pho, or whatever. That's not good. To everyone's surprise, Dad turned out to be the person who liked spicy food in our family. That was not news. That was news. So, my dad was the first person to get home after I found out that I was accepted to the college of my choice. Dad, I got accepted to the University of Washington, and I handed him the envelope. He took it, looked at it, and threw it on the floor, and he said, "That is the worst news I have ever heard." I am not joking. That happened. That was traumatic, as you might imagine. But fast forward to less than 6 months later, my dad is calling me, and he was like, "The Huskies played I'm not a sports person, the so-and-sos, and they did such a good job. I think they have great prospects. And by the way, anytime a Washington team plays, I am going to root for that team. It doesn't matter who they are. Oh, I mean, except for the Apple Cup. And I'm sorry, I just can't root for the Huskies, and I have to root for the Cougars." The amusing thing is I've never been to a Husky game in my lifetime. I wouldn't have cared, but
Dad cared.
that's the thing. This is my perfect dad. His whole life, he has proven the ability to change when given reason. That's a very rare trait. And it's one that I aspire to.